So I suppose that if you're going to tell it, then you have got to tell it all. Okay. That seems to be Erica Mena's strategy as she goes into this interview with Carlos King. But we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. The first thing that we got to talk about is the news that's making the rounds of what not to do after you've been sentenced to 4 years for fraud. Okay. Or something like it. Let's get into the reaction after the courtroom drama. Okay. Really, the drama was really here, but we'll get into British Williams and her sentencing. But first, I want you guys to take a look at, you got to always have that protective friend, as you're making your way out of court after you've been sentenced. You know what I'm saying? Because say if, oh, 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 Fran was about to go in. Fran said, not today. Why? Not today. Okay. Now, somebody in the comments said, why her friends mad? Y'all should have told her not to be stealing and scamming. That's not funny. It's really not funny. So let's get into the actual. I had to start the video off with this because to me, this was the first thing that I saw, and I was like, what in the Sam Hill is going on here? Okay. So let's actually talk about the sentencing. And shout out to our friends over at Reality Entertainment TV for the visuals. Okay. But let's get into the actual sentencing because that we can also find at Reality Entertainment TV as well as a variety of other sites at this point. I'm a little bit late to the game today. So, all right. The headline reads British Williams from Basketball Wives has been sentenced to 4 years in prison for being involved in several schemes. For those of you guys who have been living under a rock, what schemes? Well, apparently she pleaded guilty to 15 felonies, which included misusing social security numbers, making false statements to the IRS, wire fraud, her deceptive actions continued even after federal agents first got in touch with her and indicted her, as the sentencing hearing made clear. So that means that so they contacted her allegedly, according to this, all right? But she continued these actions even after the federal agents first got in touch with her and indicted her. Now, ain't that something? So anyway, it says Assistant United States Attorney Diane Clark highlighted the seriousness of Williams' crimes, emphasizing the need for strict punishment. U.S. District Judge Henry Autry stated, "You knew what you were doing, you knew it was wrong, and you did it anyway." In addition to her prison term, she will be on suspended release for 5 years and must pay $564,069, okay, in restitution. That's a lot of money. Will she be going to Basketball Wives to pay that back? Anyway, it says Williams' fraudulent activities covered a wide range from underreporting income on tax returns for 2017 to 2019 to falsely claiming dependents to avoid paying taxes. She also used social security numbers that did not belong to her to open accounts with credit card companies and banks, causing financial losses to victim companies. Furthermore, Williams opened bank accounts using these unauthorized social security numbers and committed bank fraud by depositing checks taken from other people's accounts without their knowledge, resulting in substantial losses. She admitted to submitting 9 applications for economic industry disaster loans intended to help struggling businesses during the pandemic. Y'all do them PPP loans? Anyway, it says these applications contain false information about her business. So I guess maybe if she had done them correctly, then they wouldn't have been a problem. So anyway, it contained false information about her business income and payroll, as well as her criminal history. Williams used the funds she received from two of these applications, totaling $144,000, to support her personal lifestyle. So not the business. Additionally, Williams received $52,000 from 4 Paycheck Protection Program loans and made false claims for financial relief programs like the California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. Oh, she didn't want to have to pay that rent. The fraudulent actions led to substantial payouts based on bogus information. She even submitted fake medical bills to at least one insurance company, which resulted in a payout of $139,000, benefiting her and her co-conspirators, who are not named here. Since her indictment in October 2021, Williams has failed to file annual tax returns. Girl. She listed herself as exempt on a form with her radio station employer. girl, which resulted in no taxes being withheld from her $90,000 salary. Girl, Williams is no longer employed by the station. This is all via Fox 2 now. Shout out to Reality Entertainment TV. Y'all make sure y'all give them a follow, a like, a share, comment, and do all the things and visit the site every day. Because listen, let me say this here. That's a whole lot, girl. That's a whole lot for you to have been doing. Okay. That's a whole lot for you to have been doing. And it's very interesting to me that on the reality television show for which you were employed, that hardly any of this was actually covered. Why? Can you imagine? Like if this had happened on Housewives, that would have been the season right there. Everybody would have been like, "Oh, well, we ain't got to do we ain't really got to do much work because we got a guilty party in our midst." I asked time and time and time and time and time and time again, "Girl, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?" Now I understand you in the indictments and things like that. You might be trying to work out deals and things behind the scene, but it sounds like from what is alleged here that even though when you knew you was indicted, things were still happening that was wrong. So, girl, let me tell you something. For all of us out there that are having to actually, pay the government when we don't feel like it, girl, I'm upset. Okay, and 4 years. Listen, who am I? I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I'm not any of those things. But I feel like 4 years. I mean, they went. It seemed like to me they went pretty light on her. Maybe that's why she was saying to the Jasmine brand, "Don't use me for clickbait or whatever like that." Even though they were right in their reporting completely, okay, because those charges can carry sentencing up to 30 and 20 years for what they were reporting on. Now, she probably might have known at this point in time that she was only going to get 4 years, which to me sounds like she's getting off relatively easily, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, that's neither here nor there for me to decide. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. That's a lot. Okay. So let's get into this interview with Carlos King and Erica Mena. Erica Mena has decided that, you know what, I'm going to burn the house down. Okay. I'm going to burn the house down and I'm going to take a couple of people with me. All right. So while I'm burning over here because of these things that I have shouted out to the world, for the world to see at Spice, calling her an animal, essentially. While that's happening, you know what? I'm gonna take a couple of people down with me. Okay. And so we'll, list out the people. Okay, here they are. All the people going down with Erica. I mean, really, I don't know if that was her intent, but I feel like that's what happened. And I mean, listen, if this interview had taken place without the scandal that she finds herself in, I feel like this would have been a much more compelling interview. It was definitely compelling. I watched the entire thing. It's about an hour and 36 minutes, and I would advise you to watch it as well for yourself. Because I feel like what you want to do is, for me, somebody said, "What you mean?" Because I said it yesterday in yesterday's video. I was like, we haven't really had a chance to hear Erica Mena speak the word, we haven't heard her voice speak about the situation that happened with Spice after this. We've seen Instagram posts and that sort of thing, and the PR apology, but I want to hear what she got to say, right? Not only because it's my job to do so, and it's a role that I pretty much made for myself, but at the end of the day, I mean, I wanted to know, and it is what it is. Now, I also asked if you wanted to know. So here I am about to tell you what you may or may not want to know, but I'm got to talk about it anyway. Okay. So the Erica Mena interview, to me, I mean, I feel like honestly, the first 45 minutes to 50 minutes, like, unless you're like me, who I'm a long interview person. I do not want to do short interviews. I don't want to watch short interviews. I don't like short interview clips. I want to get all the way down into the weeds. I want to know where you were born and how you came out of the womb. Okay. That's all. I mean, I want it all. Okay. And they're going to give you, you're going to get all of that. However, this is what I think, I felt like, again, like I said, it had Erica not found herself in the midst of all this calamity that is, self-imposed at this point, I felt like this would have been, again, it would have been a riveting watch. However, once you know what we know, listening to her talk about, growing up around all of these different cultures and just doing all the dancing for the reggae and the dance, all of these things that I felt like she was saying, because I felt like she knew that there were these, people feel like she is racist. I mean, pretty to put it simply. I mean, based on what she said about Spice. So people still feel some type of way. So I felt like a lot of the discourse was laced with, I mean, kind of covered in a glaze of, I need to reassure people that I am of the people, okay? I am of the diverse people. I am Erica Mena of the diversity, okay? I am the chair of the diversity committee because I am from, Brooklyn, the Bronx, or where I cannot remember, okay? And that's just how we grew up, and everybody was around us. And I'm like, girl, this is probably true, okay? But it still doesn't change the fact that you said what you said. Actually, it makes it worse, okay? Because if you did grow up as the pillar of diversity, the chair of the diversity and inclusion committee in the state of New York City, if that was your role, then to me, it makes even less sense for you to get on national TV and call this lady an animal, like the way you did. And then to make the noises right there afterwards. Okay. So anyway, I just had to let you guys know that. I mean, if you want, so listen, it may be a difficult thing for you to digest that first part of the interview, just like it was for me, because she do get to crying and things like that, and it's very emotional and things. Lip quivering and the teardrops is falling, and I am living for Carlos, sitting there like Barbara Walters, just sitting there like, tell me more, sis, tell me more, okay, give me all the tea. And okay, because I was sitting there too, like, give us the tea, especially when she started name dropping these people right here. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. Now that I've given you that disclaimer, I don't want to hold y'all too long. I just want to give you the meat and potatoes, and you can go on about your business. But you can also make sure you watch and go and support our boy over there as well, because he's doing a doggone thing with these interviews. Now, with that being said, let's get into when she got to Love and Hip Hop, because to me, that's where it started to get interesting. So she get to talking about how, Mona was looking for her own, Evelyn Lozada. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, oh, I'm here to fulfill that position. Because she was already interested in the modeling. She was doing the modeling. She wanted to act. She wanted to be like Jennifer Lopez. I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody who she felt looked like her and grew up in a similar situation in terms of where they grew up and the environment and that sort of thing. So she looked to her as someone that she could emulate, because when the saying is, if you can see it, you can be it. You know what I'm saying? So apparently, she had put together like an EPK. It landed in Mona Scott's hands. They had a little meeting. That same night, she was off to go film a scene with Yandy. Ain't been paid not a dime, ain't signed not one iota of a contract. Yandy, she tells us that Yandy is the one that put the battery in her back by telling her, girl, yeah. Let me put the alleged badge up here, because again, these are all her words and I'm paraphrasing. So I don't want to, if I get something a little bit messed up, I probably won't. But if I do, everything is alleged. Life is alleged, and nothing is real. So anyway, as I was stating, oh, Norman, I need something to drink. Okay. Because I'm trying to make it through this video without making it 20 minutes long. So y'all know I like to talk, and I will be up on here until, it'll be 40 minutes later, and we'll still be talking about the same thing, because I'll have taken twists, turns, and all kinds of other directions. So anyway, let me get back to it. So as I was stating, the scene with her, Kimbella, I don't know if you guys remember this infamous scene, so let me go ahead and, flip the slide so you guys can see a little bit and get a little reminder for yourself. But in that scene, apparently Yandy had allegedly told her that Kimbella had been saying some things about her. Now, Erica alleges that this wasn't shown on the scene, so that's why she comes into this scene, piping hot or whatever like that. So she says that for her, she felt like, when they fought, it was, reality TV was just like wrestling. Y'all know, and you know about wrestling, right? Okay. So, and if you don't, then Google whether or not it's real or not. Okay. Anyway, so apparently right after that, Mona offered her a contract in the van. Oh yes, the van, the white van, the kidnapping van that be sitting outside. So anyway, it's always, what, production usually has a van. somebody on production got a band so they can keep all the stuff, or sometimes so they can listen in on the scene or whatever like that they do. Especially if you watch 24, you know about the bands. So anyway, Mona apparently offered her a contract in the band. She was imitating Mona. This is Mona. This is not me. This is Erica saying this, but she said Mona was like, you can sign right here. Sign on the dotted line. Sign your life away to me. Sign here. And I think Erica was like, okay, signing right now, Erica Mena. No lawyer in sight. So anyway, apparently she wasn't really making that much money. She made enough money to just basically pay for her expenses, whatever they may be. Maybe the cab to get to where she had to go film. And then she was given a little bit of per diem. Okay. So for those of you guys that don't know, per diem is like what you kind of get, if you're working on something, like you could be working on a movie set, you could be working, you could get it even if you are like traveling for work for like a 9 to 5 or something like that, you could be getting per diem. And those are to cover your like meals and expenses and stuff like that correspond with your meals. And you're usually given about, per diem, I've had per diem from like as low as 40 to as much as maybe $100 per day, right? So anyway, then the next thing we get into, because we got to continue to throw everybody under the bus and drive over it back and forth and back and forth, back forth and forth. And so this is what happened with DJ Envy. Now, she said she met him at the club. She was hosting an event or something like that. It was a strip club or something like that. I don't know, because the girls used to do the hosting back in the days. And so, he wined her, dined her, took her and her friends on trips to Miami and all kinds of things. And she was falling for him until the wife called, okay? Until the wife, who she names as Gia Casey, calls. I think that's her name. Is that her name? Norman. Is that her name? You don't know either? What? Well, what are you here for? Anyway, so apparently the wife calls and says, Rashawn. Rashawn is that his name? Is Rashawn his name? You just clocked out today, have you? Okay. So what clock out then? Clock out. Clock all the way out. Go home. If you're not gonna do no work today, go home. So anyway, at this point, the wife then called and, he allegedly, again, alleged, because like I said, nothing in life is real. So, apparently, he begged her not to say anything because he wanted to fix his life and fix his family. Look, now I'm 17 minutes in. Anyway, so he apparently admitted that on air now, he admitted that he cheated with somebody that was beneath him. Okay. Now, she says, and I'd even partied with the whole Breakfast Club. So apparently everybody knew. At least that's the way she's making it seem. And she's like, I even had shots with that clown Angela Yee. Now listen, Miss Angela Yee, I'm not calling you no clown because, that is not I don't use that type of language and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And I respect the work that you do. But that's what she said. Okay, it wasn't me. So anyway, apparently Mona allegedly never allowed her to clarify that situation on Love and Hip Hop because they needed that Breakfast Club connect to plug the shows. Okay. You ain't trying to, Mona not trying to mess up her people. So anyway, I'm going down the list of who all she done thrown under the bus. Anyway, so Safaree apparently courted her for 3 years because she wouldn't take him seriously. And apparently they did Scared Famous. That's when she started looking at him differently. And producers told her how depressed he was, that she was, gotten the boot on the show. So they ended up bringing her back and he welcomed her with open arms. Carlos asked, was there competition in her marriage? She's cautious because it's only year 3 of them trying to be parallel parenting. She says parallel because sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. And basically, she has to think long and hard before she says, yeah, she felt like that. She felt like he might have been in competition with her. But she does want to be careful because she feels like the world has seen it all between the two of them and because they still have kids. And yes, girl, we have seen everything and I don't want to hear nothing else. Did he love bomb her? She says that she feels like he actually never really loved her anyway, that she was more for the moment and convenient and beneficial because of the financial gain that he got because she could see the way he was living before her and then she saw the way he was living after. Okay. So she says she's finally okay with all of that. And she feels like she lost him when they had to live real life and he had to be responsible for someone other than himself. She actually kind of blamed herself for putting more responsibility on him than he may have been ready for. And plus she says that she had a baby that he didn't even want. Now, she does regret messing with his ego as a result of things that he said and did that really hurt her. And so that is pretty much as we got. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the spice portion of this to come in, but we're not going to get that until next week, it seems. So, as I stated, I felt like this interview would be two parts. Part one was very, very interesting. Let me know what your thoughts were about it down in the comment section down below. And of course, I will catch you all in the next video.